Our community is fantastic and talented. I was sent some fan fiction by MsQuinzel, and I could not feature this in a video. I hope you guys enjoyed the slideshow of art from the community and screenshots either by myself or numerous members of the community, and of course, this wonderful bit of fan fiction. Amazon is the tried and true way of shopping for anything you need or want at the lowest prices. Support the channel at no cost to you by doing your Amazon shopping through the link in the video description. Morigesh, The Beginning by MsQuinzel. It was a cold morning that day on Sylphin. The forest, once drowned under water, was now a swamp, dead and dark in appearance. Amongst the decay, there were still things in there, living and not. They had endured the grim disaster and arose stronger than before. To lead all of them was a spirit, powerful and dark, as it had awoken during the terrible disaster. The painful cries of all things living in the forest, and their fear spurring it to life. The spirit roamed the swamp, through its dead trees, as it controlled those who lived in it, every being in the swamp serving it. The spirit cared for them in its own twisted way, with most of the beings in the swamp rising from the depths of the planet as the warm water drained into the ground. They had lived there for a time, unknown to the world above, as they were close to Sylphin's magical core. They lived their entire existence in the dark, and thus couldn't see, enabling the spirit to guide them to food and shelter, and they served the spirit in return. That morning the spirit was restless, as it could feel the cold, and it hurt, for the wind blew strong. Broken branches fell from the dead trees and splashed into the water, the sound echoing throughout the swamp. At the edge laid a camp, and the spirit was curious about these strange beings, clad in a shining carapace, walking on two legs and wielding sharp sticks made of the same shiny material. A proud-looking man and his med had made their way from Letha that night, looking for someone. Everything was calm for the moment, as the noble and his men had just awoken. The spirit saw creatures guarding the camp, smaller than the ones clad in the shiny regalia, as they had fur, 4 legs, and short tails. They went about sniffing the grass, spurring the spirit's curiosity. Then, out of the blue, these creatures started making sounds. The others suddenly grew agitated and gathered around the little ones. They had found something, marks left into the ground leading into the swamp. The spirit rushed, branches moving as it searched for whomever had entered its domain. Further, down the ever-growing darkness of the swamp, loud thudding could be heard. 2 figures ran down a slippery trail, followed by the chilling echoes of these barking animals and clinking material. The spirit had found them and was watching closely. The men ran for quite some time until the 2 fell to their knees, exhausted, unknowingly reaching the swamp's heart. They couldn't carry on, but soon the noble and its cohort caught up to them. "I could never expected you to betray you," the nobleman shouted. "I never loved you, nor will I ever." The girl, one of the 2 found running away, yelled at him with a fiery despise in her eyes. "You are mine, by right. Your father assured me so," the noble yelled back with an imperative tone. The young man next to the girl stood, silent, with an old rusty sword in his hand as if he wanted to defend the girl. "You can take me now, but I will find a way to escape again," the girl cried out with tears in her eyes. "Then you will die alongside your lover." The nobleman raised his sword and charged towards the 2, the girl's lover leaping into action to defend his beloved. With one swift move, the nobleman pierced the lad's chest, as his rusty sword stopped dead on the nobleman's pauldrons. The girl fell to the ground in tears, silent, as she had lost even the strength to cry. The spirit felt this, watching from behind a water-soaked tree. The nobleman drew close to the girl, sword in his hand, ready to strike. "If you won't be mine, the nun shall have you," the man said with a bitter tone as he raised his sword to strike. "You've taken everything from me. Take my life too. I wish you to never know what true love feels like," the girl yelled at him. Her sight fell to the ground as tears dripped from her cheeks. The man didn't say anything as he raised his sword, but something happened. Before he could finish his deed, a loud crackling noise could be heard throughout the swamp, followed by a thundering sound of what seemed like a battle horn. The nobleman was suddenly engulfed by all manners of insects and creatures, clawing and grasping at his skin. He cried as something pierced into him, something unnatural, burning as the sun, but cold as the harshest winter night. It melted his armor as if ice were dropped in a forge. He turned his head to glance toward his men, but none were truly there, as only their bones were left scattered around him. He turned what was left of his head back towards the girl as he fell to his knees, looking into a pale and terrified face. A searing pain surged through his body as he drew his last breath, his limp body falling to the swamp's floor. Everything disappeared with his death, the swamp turning back to its gloomy, silent state. The girl sat breathless and terrified, the body of a killer laying just feet away. She couldn't explain how this had happened. As her thoughts spurred in her head, she saw it, a dark mist floating around her, as if it were trying to tell her something. She extended her hand, touching it, and everything turned black. In front of her was revealed to stand this unnatural figure. It had no real shape, but in a way resembled a woman, almost as if it was trying to copy her own. The spirit approached and spoke to her. "I can reunite you with your loved one." The sound of the spirit's voice hurt the girl, as if it was distorting her very ears and her mind. The girl's fear turned into sadness as she remembered her lover's fate. "What is your name?" the girl asked, only to have the question turned back to her. "Well, my name is Anna, but my loved one was called Theodore. Can you take me to him?" the girl asked desperately. "I can, but you will have to say it," said the spirit. "Say what?" the girl asked. "The body. I need it." The spirit seemed anxious, as if it had purpose, something driving it and giving it immense desire. "My body?" the girl asked. "Yes," said the spirit. "Will it hurt?" The girl was afraid. She knew pain, but the nobleman's death showed her other levels of torment. "No, I will care for you," said the spirit, with a calmer tone this time. "So be it then. Take me to Theodore, I beg of you," said the girl with desperation in her fading voice. "Say it," said the spirit as it grew restless again. The girl didn't really know what to say, but then it all struck her. It was all obvious to her now, as the spirit needed her consent in order to possess her body completely. She remembered having seen a few references of this in her grandfather's old books, and so, desperately, she replied to the spirit, "My body is yours, but take me to him." It all turned white, and as it started to fade, Anna could see endless fields of grass, the sun bright as it was warm. Theodore sat waving at her from under an old bloomed cherry tree, and her suffering came to an end. She remembered this moment, and it did not seem to care if this was truly real, as she was just happy to have her lover back. Back on Zetchen, the spirit had awoken in its new body. It had suffered a transformation while she slept. But it didn't care, as it tried to stand up, trembling back down as soon as it tried to move. It, or she, wasn't going to give up that easily. She persevered, and hours later found herself at the swamp's end. There, a huge figure was waiting for her, almost as if what had transpired was known by this creature. He was big, and had drums tied to his body, a strange smirk adorned on his face. "What is your name?" he asked in a deep, burly voice. She opened her mouth, but, not liking the question, hesitated at first. Still, something was driving her to answer, and so she did. "Morigesh," she replied, a small smirk growing on her lips, and the two carried on outside the swamp. Patreon allows creators to offer their fans a way of supporting them and what they do. With flexible and painless payment options, anyone can support the creator for as little as $1 a month. If you would like to help me do what I love, check out the link in the video description to learn more. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you absolutely enjoyed that little bit of fan fiction. Absolutely well done by MsQuinzel, whose first language isn't even English. So fantastic job. Wonderful story. I absolutely loved it. And you know what? I hope I get. So guys, send in your stuff to me, Sylphin, Paragon@gmail.com. Anything, because I absolutely love this. So love this stuff. Huge shout out, MsQuinzel. Amazing job. Please like this video, like it, dislike it, share it with the community. Of course, guys, subscribe if you guys like this content, or any of my other helpful guides. Please subscribe so I can do that for you in the future. Check the video description for links to my website, merchandise store, and Amazon affiliate links, as well as all my social media right here. Huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, Twitch subscribers, and YouTube sponsors going out of the way supporting me and making these videos possible. Until next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.